南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。We pay homage to our respected teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, so we continue to look at this book, Way to Home. So today is page 55, and with this picture. Beautiful sunset. Is that promontory? Yes. Promontory, yeah. Beautiful sunset. It's actually more beautiful on screen than in the book. The printing doesn't seem to really print out the details as good as the digital photo. Beautiful picture. I like this picture. I like clouds. Okay. Your floor is yours. The mic is ready too. Right? Anybody else want to say? Oh, Nora?
That picture evokes sort of our insignificance. So the quote is about our last breath. Well, like we're just so tiny. Look at those tiny little lights.
Yeah, we are minute, aren't we? Very minute, yeah. Thank you, Nora. It's great. Okay, Wai Phun.
Thank you, Sifu, and
Morning.
Thanks everyone. I would like to say the gray clouds more and more, the bright will suddenly disappear at last. So like our life, that is the end of the day, but we don't know when. So I would like to say we'll have to very treasure the last breath.
The last breath. Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wai Phun. Okay, Mali.
Thank you, Sifu. It's a beautiful picture. So to me, it's about change of seasons and passage of time. So I would think of, we all have our preferences. We like spring or summer or whatever, but we have really no control of the moment of time.
Exactly.
So we just have to think how precious our time is, and maybe get engaged in
make full use of them, eh?
Positive, use it for positive outcomes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, make full use of the time that we have. Yeah. With positive outcome, even with negative outcomes, we don't need to dislike them. Try not to dislike them. Right? It's difficult though. Easy say and done. Right? Easy say and done. Yeah. Good. Great. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, Titania.
Good evening, Sifu and everyone. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival.
Oh yes, happy 中秋节, Mid-Autumn Festival, Mooncake Day, or Happy Harvest Day. Yeah.
Thank you, Sifu, for sharing this beautiful photo. I see impermanence in this photo.
Of
right
course.
At the first glance. Yeah, the gradual change of color and the layers of clouds, and also the solid ground and the lights created actually a very complex feeling for me. It's quite heavy, and I do feel that this is a beautiful sunset, but however, at the same time, on the same token, I want to share the fact that if we don't treasure, like what you have written on the text, if we don't treasure the present moment, the next will never be the same. So there's only one moment in this life, just now. So it reminds me of impermanence, so I will treasure each and every moment I have. And thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, thank you. Good. Very nice. Yeah, yeah. It's just a beautiful moon night. Just a beautiful sunset to go together with today. Eh? Moon night, Bodhisattva day. Yeah, good. Okay, great. Thank you. Catherine from San Francisco. Yes. And then Ivy. Oh, did Ivy put up her hand? Okay. Yeah. Catherine. Yeah, hello. Happy Mooncake Day.
Now they call it Moon Festival. Mooncake.
They call Moon Festival? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. When I look at this picture today, because the whole day I've been getting pictures like the beautiful moon and all this moon cake, right? All these greeting pictures.
Yeah, right.
I tend to go and look at all this red. And
Yeah.
that just reminds me California wildfire.
Oh, California wildfire. Yeah, it's really rampant. It's really terrible now, right? Yeah.
Don't know what's happening
Yeah.
to our life.
Yeah.
So we treasure every moment we have.
Yeah, it's terrible fire down in down in California. Yeah. Thank you, Catherine. So, thank you. Ivy, you have something to say?
See the sunrise, and every day, every morning, it's all different. It just tells me that impermanent, that the sunrise, if you wait for another 2 minutes, all the light is bright, so you can't wait.
Yeah.
Or you catch the moment, so just like our breath.
Our breath, yeah.
We are not precious our life and try to work hard and don't wait and catch up every moment so that we are not regret. So,
Yeah. Good. Thank you. So, Irene? Thank you, Ivy.
thank you.
Amitabha Sibu, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay.
How come your mic is unmute, but you can we can hear you? You always have funny mic and video.
Audio problem with my computer, and so I have to log into both.
I see. Oh, okay.
My PC, and then my laptop is triggering, so
I see. Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. As long as we can hear you, that's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I see hope in the picture, and there's a lot of dotless. Before the brightness come, there are always a dotless.
Yes.
And we don't see a lot of. How do I put it together? We see hope. And when the days end, and we still have this breath, and we still be able to do and complete the things that we haven't done.
Yes.
And that reminds me that I learned from the life and death workshop.
Oh, yes.
That is, how far from birth to death.
Yes.
It's just in a link of our breath.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we need to cherish every moment that we have.
Yes. Yes.
That reminds me not to take things for granted.
Yes. Your dog agrees with you. Your puppy agrees with you. It says, well said, Irene. Sadhu, sadhu. Great. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody from here? The mic is on the floor.
I'll share.
Yeah. Just bring the mic over to your side.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Versha.
So this week, under your direction, I've been really paying attention to the long breath as much as I can and really looking at it in detail. And the one thought that continues to come up in my mind is it gives perspective and space.
Oh.
So there's like a backing away. There's this time, this perspective, this space from the next moment.
That's very good.
And so as soon as I saw this picture, I thought, that's exactly like that. That's that space, and perspective that keeps coming up in my mind. So that's what I thought of. Yeah.
Great, good. So you have been practicing long and short breath?
I've been trying.
Good. Yes, good.
Oops. Sure. Hi, everybody. When I look at this, I just think of all the sunsets, well, actually, more sunrises that I've tried to take photographs of, and I've tried to move to the right position or the right place and lost the moment.
Yeah.
And it
lost
reminds
the moment,
me that
yeah.
you just have to stop and enjoy that
Yeah,
moment.
just take it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Enjoy that moment. Right, good. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, this is definitely a sunrise because it's on the east side, right? Yeah, it's a sunrise. It's really not a sunset, it's a sunrise. It's on the east side of Chilliwack. Yeah. Okay. East side of Chilliwack, not on Chilliwack. East side of Chilliwack, yes. Anybody else? No? Really? Huh. You know, what I saw from this picture is not what I saw. What I see now. It's not what I saw when I took the picture, okay? It's what I see now. Yes, the sunrise is actually very, very prominent. It's very attractive. So are those little lights on the mountains. But I saw the leaves in the foreground. Those leaves in the foreground, right there on the bottom. Those are the leaves because I'm not tall enough to avoid those leaves. So the leaves actually came into the picture. You see, a lot of times in our life, we actually forget what is the most important, and we miss them all the time. It's just like the leaves. We miss the leaves. A lot of you are actually being, so attracted by the bright colors and by the layers of clouds or even the beautiful mountains. But I was attracted by the leaves. The reflections of the leaves, it gives that picture a little bit more depth, more perspective, more layers. The leaf, the mountains and the lights, and then the clouds, and then the redness beyond the mountains. So a lot of times we actually take for granted the things that are right in front of us, and we pay attention to the back of the picture a lot, and we forget the front part is also could be very beautiful. Yeah, and just like the breath. All right. So this is what I see from this picture. When I actually look at this picture before, I thought, it's very strange. What are these things? Oh, then I realized they were the leaves. I said, why didn't I try to avoid those leaves? Of course, I'm not tall enough. One is I'm not tall enough. Second is I think I really wanted the leaves to be there. It's not just the mountains and the colors of the sunrise. So tonight, and when I look at this picture, that's how I feel. Is a lot of times, that whether it's the breath or people who are around us, we don't treasure them as much as we should have. Or things. When we lose things, then we start to cry. Oh, I lost this, and then, or this one breaks or whatever. But when they are there, we don't really actually pay full attention or fully appreciating their existence in our life. This is how I see from this picture. So, anybody else? After I commented, you can agree, you can disagree. Doesn't matter. Did you see those leaves now? All right. Okay. We ready to go on? Okay. The passage that goes with this picture is, our lives are short, and our breath is precious because we have no idea when we will take our last breath. So what, do you have any comment about this passage? Are our lives really short? Yeah, why did you say so? You're still living. Be careful, Fasha. Don't trip yourself yet.
Thank you, Sifu. Just because of COVID, Kwok and I haven't seen some people in the family for a long time. So
Yeah.
this past weekend, we went to see my godparents because it was my godmom's birthday, and they looked at Naya and Banyan and looked up and went,
Wow.
"Are those your kids?"
Oh yeah, 2 years.
Yeah. So I said, "Yeah, I'm the shortest one now," and it's really not that long of a time, but wow, and
20 months.
It's so quick, and so much happens.
Yes.
Such a short amount of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But when you say it's short, it's really not short. Well, if you count the days, 20 months almost now. And I echo with your comment. Is I was talking to somebody today. I said, asking her how she's doing, and has she seen her family and whatnot, and you're going to go out to dinner meal with your family today? She said, no, it's COVID. It's the pandemic. And the pandemic has actually affected so much. It distanced the family. It changes all the relationship. It does. It has. Yeah. So, yeah, it's yeah. Well, time goes, right? Anybody else about this comment on this passage? Our lives are short. Are our lives really short? Of course, our lives are short when we compare to the lives of the divas, right? They could be thousands, 5,000s, 10,000s, 100,000s years of life. But we think that our lives are very long. We think, 80-year-old, wow, you live a long life. 96, right? 100, wow, a long life and still kicking. Wow, it's great, it's long life, right? But really, when we compare to, of course, to heavenly beings, to other beings, our lives are really comparatively short. And of course, not everybody can live up to 80-year-old, 90, 100, right? Some dies when they are very young. sometimes when they are like children, or teenagers, or at the prime age, they die. So our lives are really not that long, but we think that it is very long. That is the delusion. It is a delusion, yes. So, and our breath is precious because we have no idea when we will take our last breath. It looks really grim, this passage, eh? Very pessimistic. But yet, on the other side, you could say this is actually very optimistic because it reminds you, make full use of the time, right? So, in our Bodhisattva precepts, there is a saying. There is a saying in here. It says, "Human life is so impermanent that it surpasses all mountains and waters." That means the speed of impermanence, can be so fast that it surpasses all mountains and waters. And even though it is still here today, tomorrow there is no guarantee. Right? I remember a couple of years ago, my friend's best friend actually said she's going to take a nap so that she could actually feel really uplifted when she has to attend a very important ceremony in the evening. And she never woke up. She told her husband, "I'm going to take a nap, so you wake me up at 4 o'clock, then we'll all dress up, then we'll go to this important ceremony." And at 4, her husband went into the room to wake her up. She's dead. And one of her friends actually dreamt of her, and she talked to her friend and said, "I didn't know that I have died. I didn't know that I have died." The one who's dead actually said to his best friend, said, "I didn't know that I have died. I have wandered for 2 days, and now I know that I have died." I mean, that is not necessarily really her message to her friend, but that's how her friend actually dreamt of her. But it could happen because when people went into a sudden death, the consciousness in the body, the body is dead, but the consciousness still sort of like in that human state and still in shock and not being really realistic. So it could that consciousness could really have to take a little while before they actually could process and start to accept the fact that they have left this physical body. Okay, so this is what is actually in one of our Bodhisattva precepts. So when you hear this, when you see this, you say, "Wow, really? Life is so impermanent. It's just like this, like this, like this." It is. I mean, this lifetime, no matter how we try to like it, to protect it, to sort of, live it, maybe we can live a better life, a little bit better, but if we want to live permanently, is it possible? It's impossible, right? It's impossible that our life can go on forever, or eternity. So when the more we actually understand about this impermanence, the more we actually start to really try to see through this impermanence, and try to constantly remind ourselves of this impermanence, then we will never make a guarantee that our life could go on forever. So we can see, because nobody can guarantee anybody's life, Nobody. Okay. Otherwise, why would a child has to die? Why would a young man or young woman at his prime age has to die? And nobody can guarantee. Okay. So in the Buddha's teachings, one of this very important concept, or one of this important teaching is impermanency. So when we start to understand this more, the impermanence more, actually we would try to pick up ourselves and say, oh, come on, time is really running out. I really need to actually make full use of it. I remember I was talking about impermanence or time is running out in one of my meditation quite some time ago. I think it was last year. And one of the students after that told me, he said, Sifu, I have never realized how impermanent life is until now. Because every time I meditate, I doze off. Because I think that I still have time for tomorrow. I still have time tomorrow. But today, I mean, your instructions, I've heard your instructions over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. Be alert, be aware, be awake. He said, I have heard that over so many times, but it never dawned on me that it is really, really very important to be right here, right now, and be alert and aware and awake. And don't waste any more time. He said then, at that time, he said, once I had that, he said, when I had that, wow, I can't waste my time. He said that whole session, he never dozed off anymore because it's so urgent. He said, it's so urgent. I saw the urgency of practice. I saw the urgency to be here and to make full use of every moment to practice. I didn't doze off at all. So, because so many of us actually did not see the urgency. Well, never mind. I can still do it tomorrow, right? There's no problem, right? So that the Buddha's teachings, the Buddha actually taught us that we need to really look at our life. We really need to pay very, very strong attention to the importance of having a life, especially a human life. And so this is actually, very, very proactive attitude. It's really not a pessimistic attitude. If it is pessimistic, forget it. My life is not very long. I have to spend all my life to entertain myself, to get, to go and have all this what I want, and never mind. I will die anyway, so why don't I spend time to entertain myself, to have all the desires fulfilled, right? But the Buddha said otherwise. He said, well, yes, life is impermanent. That's why you have to use the time, your life, to really, to make way, to make your future a brighter future. Don't just look at right now. Look at what you can do for your future. It's right here, right now. So remember the 42 chapters, we have studied that both in English and in Cantonese. So we have looked at that in the Sutra of the 42 chapters, chapter 38, remember? The Buddha asked the monk, the bhikkhu, how long is a human life? So one bhikkhu said, a few days. And within these few days, if I practice fully of what you taught, I'll be fine. I'll be okay. The Buddha said, you haven't understood my teaching. And then the Buddha asked another question, how long is the human life? And then another bhikkhu said, well, the time to take a meal, or the time to finish a few morsel of food. So a time to eat a meal could be 5 minutes, could be half an hour, could be an hour. But a time to chew up a few morsels of food is just like a few minutes, right? And the Buddha said, no, you do not know about life. So the Buddha asked the question again, so bhikkhus, how long is a human life? So another bhikkhu said, within one single breath. Within one single breath. And the Buddha said, well said, sadhu, sadhu, well said, well said. You know about life. So, think about that. Think about that. We breathe in, we can breathe in, and we breathe out. Yeah, breathe out. Imagine we cannot breathe in anymore. That's the end of our life. So, at the verge of life and death, what can you do? There's nothing you can do anymore, right? At that moment, when you breathe out and cannot breathe in anymore, what can you do? You cannot do anything anymore. So, as I always say, life really is precious. It's not because it is long or short. It's because of how you're going to use it, and how you're going to cherish, and how you're going to treasure it. So every breath is that our life there. If we breathe it out and cannot breathe in anymore, that's it. So remember when we talk about the baby was born, within the first 10 seconds, it started to gasp for air, and then he or she starts to breathe on his own or her own. So that is an incoming breath. That's the beginning of life. And at the end of the life, outgoing breath, and cannot take a breath in anymore, that's the end of life. So, breath in, breath out. So we wouldn't know how long we would have between this first incoming breath and the last outgoing breath. We don't know. Nobody knows. Unless you're like those wonderful teachers, they know that they know about when they die. So they can plan and they can tell, and they tell everybody, okay, I'm not going to die yet. You wait a few days. I'm going to die on such a day, at such a time. Oh yeah, there are quite a few teachers like that. Okay, so unless one has such meditative, strong, deep meditation, jhana or samadhi, one cannot tell. So our lifetime is really within one breath. If we are aware, if we see that urgency, we would cherish it. But it's just that we don't see it all the time. We forget about it all the time. And every day we spend so much time in all these wandering thoughts, right? Wandering thoughts. And we forget every moment, any moment, could be your moment of enlightenment. Could be a moment of enlightenment, but also could be a moment of your death, right? We won't know until really, death comes. But that's why it's so important that every moment is so crucial and so important. And we can use that moment, the time and the breath and that existence of human life to really enhance ourselves, to raise ourselves, to rise up and to get rid of the hatred, to anger, ill will, animosity, ignorance and drowsiness and whatnots and all the afflictions and defilements. But we don't. Because we don't see the urgency, right? Yeah, we don't see the urgency. So, in Chinese there is a wonderful poem. It's called A Song on Tomorrow, 明日歌, So I put the Chinese there too, so it's to remind the Chinese. It said tomorrow and then tomorrow. So tomorrow and then tomorrow. Don't we always say that? I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow is that, okay, I'll do it the next day. Or maybe I'll do it next week, right? Tomorrow and then tomorrow. There are so many tomorrows, so many more tomorrows. I'm always constantly waiting for tomorrow. When one is doing that, everything is wasted. Your life is wasted. So you can see from this first half of the poem, it says, yes, there is tomorrow after tomorrow. There is tomorrow after tomorrow. And there are so many, many tomorrows. But we cannot be sure that we can live until tomorrow. So are you really going to wait until tomorrow? As I always say, I have so many students coming to tell me, oh, okay, when I make $1 million, I'll come in and be ordained One tell me, asked me a couple of years ago, is that, so what is the oldest age that you can accept as a nun? I said, for you, 60-year-old, 60. And then the other day, she said, I just passed 60. I said, oh, you just passed 60. Okay. So what are you going to do? She said, I don't think I can be a nun anymore. I said, yeah, I don't think you can. She said, yeah, I can let go. I said, yeah, I know you can let go. You see, waiting for tomorrows. Ask ourselves, are we constantly waiting for tomorrows? Be honest to yourself, okay? All right. So, and then there's the second half of this poem. Sorry, I was going to animate it, but I forgot. So it says, the worldly beings are always being dragged down by tomorrow because they think that they have so much time. I can do it tomorrow. I'll wait for tomorrow. I can do it tomorrow. So it's being always dragged by tomorrow. Spring is gone, autumn is coming, and so is old age. So if you're young and healthy now, you say, okay, wait until tomorrow, I'll do this. Or wait until next year, I'll do this. Or wait until 2 years, I'll do this. I tell you, in no time, old age will dawn on you. We all agree, right? We are old. So we all agree. And at that time, you think, oh gosh, where did time go? What happens? Like your godparents said, what happens? Is it just 2 years? Are they your kids? Right? Where did time go? And he said, watching the sunsets in the west at dusk. No, seeing river flows east at dawn, and watching the sunsets in in the West at dusk. How many more tomorrows do we really have in this life? So this song about tomorrow is actually constantly reminding us nothing can wait. Nothing can wait. So if you have a plan for your future, don't wait too long to materialize it. If you have something to tell to others, don't wait too long, because you might not have the life to tell them, or they may not have the life to hear you out. Nobody knows, right? So a lot of times, when people going to see movies or attending Dhamma talk or sitting in meditation, of course I would talk about meditation, Dhamma talks, and like all these spiritual stuff. So when people are really in these kind of spiritual practices or participate in these kind of in spiritual practices, sitting in meditation, listening to Dhamma talk, and attending workshops, do they really put their total heart into it, or they just be there, or they just there but not there? You know what I mean? Just there but not there, right? The physical body is there, but the heart is not there. So then that is just like the song about tomorrow. So if we are really constantly waiting for tomorrows, that means we are constantly waiting for the future to come. It's not necessarily just tomorrow. It could be tonight, right? But it's just that this is the song about tomorrow. We will just waste our time. We will just waste our human life. And remember, time doesn't wait for us. Even though we don't like to be tied down by the time, but we are tied down by the time because we are so accustomed by looking at the clock. Oh, it's 7:45, or it's 8, or it's 10. I better go to bed now. We're so tied down by the time because we were, ever since we were little, we were taught about time. But yet, even though we were taught about time, but yet we don't fully utilize our time. That's a problem. And wait until we don't have the time, then we start crying. Why is my life so short? Why don't I have more time? So this whole song about tomorrow is actually telling us, treasure this moment. If you could remember the first four, these four, or 1, 2, 3, 4, these four sentences, this very little passage is really an awakening call, an alarming call, just to remind ourselves how precious time is, and do not waste our life away. Okay, so of course, yes, we are talking about time, and of course the most important concept that the Buddha taught is everything is impermanence. Everything and impermanence can strike or will strike at any minute. When during the Buddha's life, there was this King Bimbisara. Remember that? King Bimbisara, very great disciple, student for the Buddha, and he has a good friend called Fukisara, King Fukisara, and they were very, very good friends. And one time Fukisara actually gave Bimbisara a very precious gold-plated stupa, little stupa with lotus flowers, everything. And Bimbisara, King Bimbisara thought, wow, this is such a precious gift. What can I give back to King Fukisara? So when Bimbisara actually was visiting the Buddha, and he shared this wonderful gift, he offered the gift to the Buddha. And the Buddha said, wow, this is a very precious gift from your friend Fukisara. And the Bimbisara said, yes, I know, I'm offering it to you, but teacher, I really would like to give back something precious to Fukisara. And the Buddha said, why didn't you tell him about the dependent origination, conditions arising? So Fukisara definitely did not know about dependent origination, right? And Bimbisara said, oh yes, he doesn't know about this, and I should tell him about this. So he told Fukisara about this dependent origination, starting from ignorance all the way to old age, death, and this whole cycle repeats itself over and over again. And Fukisara, after hearing this teaching from his dearest friend Bimbisara, was like, wow, this is really, 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 really precious teaching. Where did you hear it from? And he said, oh, well, I heard it from my teacher, the Buddha. He said, wow, I wanted to go and pay respect to him. He said, of course. And he said, now I wanted to renounce. So he actually gave away his throne. He left household life, and he was going to go and see the Buddha. So he became a ascetic. He became a monk by himself, and so he went. He walked and he walked. He was going to Savatthi to visit the Buddha and wanted to actually be ordained with the Buddha. So one day he was very close to Savatthi, but not reached to Savatthi yet. He needed to rest, and he knocked onto a shop, a kiln's shop, and then asked him, "Can I stay a night?" He said, of course, I have a room there, so you can stay there for the night. So he went in, then he actually, organized everything, and he took rest. And then there was another ascetic came to ask the kiln shop owner, said, oh, I have been on the road for a long time. Do you think you can provide me a place to stay for the night? He said, oh, you're a little bit late. Somebody came just now. Maybe you go and ask him whether he minds staying with you for the night. So the second ascetic went to see Fukisara and asked Fukisara, I have been on the road, I'm very exhausted, I couldn't go on. And I'm going to Savatthi. And Fukisara said, of course, no problem. It's a big room, we can share the room. So the second ascetic sat down, and then he said, and then they started to talk, right? Like you took on a trip, and you met some stranger on a trip, and you start to talk with each other. And he said, oh, where do you come from? You as if that you have, you look very exhausted. Yes, he said, yeah, I have come a long way. And then this second ascetic asked him, so where are you going? He said, I'm going to look for my teacher. Fukisara said, I'm going to look for my teacher. He said, okay. The second ascetic that said, so in your mind, what will your teacher be like? What kind of teacher are you expecting to have? And so Fukusara said, okay, well, in my mind, my teacher is the Buddha. So that's why I took this long trip to go to Savatthi, because I wanted to meet him. I wanted to be ordained under him. I wanted he could, I could take refuge and ordination with him. So the second ascetic said, oh, I see, okay. Then this second ascetic started to tell him about impermanence, about life being so changing, fleeting changes, and about impermanence and everything. And so he said, our life, this life is very short. And this is just one very short life among many, many lives. And so some people have a shorter life, some people have a longer life, some people have some people have a easier life, some people have a very difficult life, and because of all the past causes and conditions that make their life, the way they are this lifetime. So King Fukisara heard all these. He said, wow, impermanence. Wow, changing, conditions arising. He said, wow. So you must have seen the Buddha, right? You must have seen the Buddha. So King Fukisara asked the second, said, you must have seen the Buddha, because this is what he taught, right? And after the Fukisara said that, he said, well, the second ascetic said, well, because you wanted to see me. That's why I came here to see you. That was the Buddha who actually came in front of Fukisara and taught him this impermanence, this whole thing about impermanence. He said, because you wanted to see me, you needed to see me, and I worry about impermanence. So that's why I actually came to see you. So Fukisara heard this, wow, this is the Buddha right in front of me. So he immediately paid respect and everything. So next day they were going to part from each other. And before they parted from each other, and Fukisara said, okay, 7 days. In 7 days, I will see you, Buddha. He was still going to Savatthi. And the Buddha said, remember, life, human life is fleeting. Human life is very impermanent. Whether it's fortune, whether it's misfortune, is within one thought, within one breath. So that's what the Buddha actually told him, and he left. The Buddha left. So this Fukisara bhikkhu left also, walking towards Savatthi. He walked. On the road, there was this mother's cow, mother's bull. She just gave birth to babies, and she was very, very protective. And this Fukisara bhikkhu was walking too close to the baby cows. And the mother cow actually shuffled her horn into his tummy and slid it open, and he died. Impermanence. That is the true story of impermanence taught by the Buddha. So this is what the Buddha taught. But I actually had that experience myself many years ago, way before I started teaching in Hong Kong. I think that was in 2005, maybe earlier than that, I can't remember. But anyway, one of my students' families, they all came to Canada to visit her during the summer. And her children all came to a one-day course in Polam, in the old Polam. And I think 3 daughters, and can't remember, 3 daughters and 2 son-in-law, 5 of them. And then after the one-day course, they found it so helpful. They said, wow, Sifu, will you be able to teach? Do you have any affiliation in Hong Kong? I said, no. Do you have a branch in Hong Kong? I said, no. And I said, and she said, would you go to Hong Kong to teach? I said, yeah, I would. If you have, 30 or more people, I would go. She said, oh, no problem. I would have 30 or more people. It was July or June. I can't remember. Anyway, so they left. They left for Hong Kong, and then a couple of months later, they called me. They said, Sifu, are you coming back to Hong Kong? I said, well, you haven't said anything to me. I said, how many people do you have now? She said, oh, well, we only have about like 15, 20. I said, well, I really don't think I will come. And then they said, and we don't have any venues either. I said, can we go to knock on temple's door so we can borrow that temple on a Sunday? I said, no, not to temples, because temples and monasteries always have activities on Sunday, right? I said, you go and find other venues, like, community center, whatever. And yeah, at that time I thought, no, I'm not going, I'm not going. And they tried to beg me to go. I said, oh, it's only like 15, 20 people. No, I'm not going. It was too much of a trip. Then it was so funny. During my meditation, this impermanence just came to my head. It said, wow, I promised them that I will go. What happened if, somebody is supposed to really receive the Dhamma, take the meditation class, and because of my own preference, I don't go? I said, wow, that is a very, very terrible cause and effect thing. That would be a really strong karma that I'm creating. Then right after meditation, I called them up. I said, I will come. No matter how many students, I will come. And I will try to find a place for you. And it so happened that everything just worked out. And I actually, a temple allowed me to use their school hall for the meditation, and there was 120 students. That was the first course I actually taught in Hong Kong. But the story didn't end yet. So they were very happy, and then the whole family came. The whole family came, and the brothers and everybody, and the colleagues and everybody. So that was Sunday, and on Tuesday Tuesday lunch, they actually invited me out for lunch. I was leaving that night, and then his brother came, and then everybody came. There was I think there were 20 people. Okay, then his brother came to me and said, wow, it was a really wonderful, precious teaching. He wasn't a Buddhist. And he said, I will practice it. I will definitely practice it, Sifu. I said, good. People always said that they will keep on practicing, right? I said, oh, good, wonderful. It will be nice. You'll find that it will be very helpful. Then I came home. That was November. I remember that was November. And the 22nd of December, I think it was 22nd or 18th, can't remember. Oh, it has to be 22nd. I was teaching a 10-day course in the Old Polam. The phone rang. She told me that her brother died. The brother who said that he will practice. He was only 32-year-old. He died of a heart attack. He knew something was wrong. He was holding his child who was only like 10 months old, maybe, or 1 year old, and he passed it to his brother-in-law. Hold it, hold it. Have you got her? Her brother-in-law said, yes. His father-in-law said, yes, I've got her. And he fell. He just died like that. That is impermanence. If I haven't gone back and he was preparing to sit that meditation course, because he said that he would sit it. He told his sisters, I will sit it when if Sifu comes. If I don't go, then I would have missed that opportunity to really pass that Dhamma to him. But you see, that impermanence. And from then on, I remind myself, never make empty promises. Always, always keep up the promise. Always, always. So, impermanence will strike at any minute. That's what the Buddha said to King Fukisara. Okay, so impermanence is like what? In the Dhamma Sutra, you all know, it says all conditioned dhammas are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, like dewdrops and the lightning flash. Contemplate on these. So everything is conditioned. Everything is conditioned. We know whether we are, whether we, the things that we eat, whether the clothes that we wear, the food that, what that we have, those all these activities are conditioned dhammas. Of course, these are external conditioned dhammas, but there are internal conditioned dhamma. What are those? Those are our feelings, the form, the body form, our thoughts, our consciousness, all the mental activities. Those are the internal dhamma that are also conditioned. Okay, the five khandhas, they are all conditions. So, and within this body, the 4 elements are all conditioned. The fire, the wind, the earth, the water, they are all conditioned, right? Yesterday I ate so much hot peppers that it gave me such a terrible stomachache. That was conditioned, right? So these, what happens? Okay. So these all conditioned, all dhammas are conditions, whether it's our existence internal or external to us. Okay? And they are like dream. What is a dream? A dream is not real. But when we are in the dream, we think that it's just so real. Right? But when we wake up, can we always remember our dreams? No, we can't. Ask yourself, what did you dream yesterday? You hardly can remember anything, right? So, dreams, not real. Illusions, of course, they're not real. Like illusions are like what? Like magician, right? Cutting a woman up into two, that's illusion. They are playing tricks to delude you. So they are not real. What about bubbles? Remember the princess who wanted a garland of bubbles? Right? So, okay, you pick up the bubbles, I'll make a garland for you. Of course, she never get that garland of bubbles because bubbles will burst once you pick it up. It only lasts that long. Right? And shadows. Are shadows real? We are not even real, let alone the shadows. Right? But people think that shadows are so real. We are not even real. Even this form is conditioned. And where is this me here? So like dewdrops, like the sun comes out, dewdrops disappear. Like a lightning flash, come and go. So impermanent. So we need to constantly remind ourselves, our life is just like all these. These are wonderful gathas in Dhamma Sutra, one always have to memorize. Memorize and memorize. And use them to remind yourself, yes, like dewdrops, like lightning flash. And when you start to look upon conditioned things in this way, if you do, then, you know, a lot of times, right there, it could be heaven and hell. It could be heaven. If you forget to look at things like this, it is hell to you. Because why? So much attachment, so much delusion, and you think it is real, and it becomes hell. But if you start to look at it like this, and then, oh, heaven is right there, right here. So we don't have to be so afraid, fearful. If death comes along, if we lose somebody, if we lose something precious, if we lose something that we really like, we don't have to sulk and lament for so long. Because we know this is life, this is how life is, right? So remember the 4 kinds of horses that the Buddha taught before. Of course, today we're talking about impermanence, and of course this time we're talking about death, life and death. Like life is within one breath. So the Buddha said the first type of horse, thorough horse, is when they seize the shadow of the gourd, or the shadow of the, what do you call, the tether, the one who beats them up. The whip, yeah. So, what is this type of horse? If we are talking about human being, is these seeing the shadows of the whip, the horse is already startled, fearful, and already knows what the owner wants him to do. So this is a metaphor, a simile. It's that man hears in the village, somewhere there is a man or woman who is suffering from illness and who is dying. He hears, he or she hears. This is the first type of horse. So the first type of horse is, it starts to run. They know. So this type of human being, when he hears somebody has died, or is dying, or is very ill, so it reminds him or her that life is impermanent. Let us treasure and cherish the time. Let me practice urgently, very urgently. Because why? He's afraid that he doesn't have enough time. So he started to practice very diligently, accordingly. So this is an excellent horse, because they see it themselves. Okay, then the second type of horse is when his hair are struck. So this is also a good horse, an excellent, one of the excellent horses. It's only this is the metaphor, is when his hair is struck, is, oh, see this, only the hair is, struck by the whip. And he started to get startled and fearful that, oh, what does my owner want me to do? He probably wants me to take him for a ride. And so he started to stride along, running and all that. So this horse is compared to a good man living in the village, and he hears somebody. Did I get it wrong? Yeah, he hears somebody that he is dying. He won't be startled. He sees somebody himself, not hears, sees somebody. Okay? See somebody. Somebody. So he sees somebody that is dying, and he knows life is short. So he started to practice. Okay? And then the third one, when its height is struck. When its height is struck is, it happens already hitting the skin. So, what does it mean? It means that his family or his friends are sick or ill. It's not somebody in the village that he hears, it's not somebody in the village that he sees, but it's really somebody close, right? So hitting the skin, right? The height is struck. But the fourth one is when the bone is struck, really bleeding, the skin is broken. This is the fourth type of horse, is there's so much physical pain. And at that time, this horse still refused to run. What does it mean? It means somebody really, him or herself, is so sick, is sick. And still, they might not realize that their time is running out. Okay? So they don't become startled or feared until they become ill themselves, or even dying. So we only start to practice when he is suffering. There are actually a lot of us like that, right? When we are so like, oh, I'm dying, I'm sick, then we start to practice. So the Buddha said there are 4 types of horses, and he asked us to fit ourselves into any of this type. Of course, we would like to be which ones? The first one, or even the second one, right? Hears or sees, right? But not wait until that, we have somebody who is very close to us, who dies. And sometimes even though we experience death, not ourselves, but we see so many deaths, especially when we get older, we see deaths more than we see births, right? We still don't realize. We still we still haven't picked up our heart enough to be really scrupulously diligent, because we think that we still have tomorrow. Right? So, remember, life is within one breath. Breath in and breath out. That's it. So every moment, every breath, every thought, if we could actually treasure them, like as if it is the last one, then we will not be waiting for tomorrow anymore. So when we need to do something, do it right away. Don't wait. Don't wait too long, because that too long might not come. Right? Okay, that's it. Good? Yep. So happy Mid-Autumn Festival. That is the moon from last month. Not from today. From last month. Yeah. That is a poem. Sorry, Eva, you won't be able to understand the poem. The poem said, the hot sun, the heated sun has gone down like sunset. And in this world is full of impermanence. 清月明照, with the clear moon, it shines bright. And in this whole emptiness world, this whole enormous, infinite world, this light actually shines everywhere. The moon is everywhere in this infinite world. Because once Chan saying that 1,000 rivers, thousands moon. Is that right? 1,000 rivers, 1,000 moons? No, 1,000 rivers, there is just one moon. It's just one moon. It's not 1,000 moons, but it's the reflections. It's the moon shining into 1,000 rivers. Yeah, I wrote this poem last night. Okay. All right, then. Any questions? Life is impermanent. Life is within one breath. Yes, wishful thinking. We always think that we will have a long, long life. Anybody have any say? Anything to say? No, nothing to share? Too heavy, eh? Never mind. Okay, Ari, you have something to say? Okay.
Well, even though we want to do, we know that urgency, we want to do things, but it has to be in right time and right conditions. If there is the conditions not right, and things won't happen.
Of
Cause
course.
and effect,
Of course.
right?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
I really want, after my 10-day meditation, I really feel like I'm ready for the 30 days, but there's a 30 days coming up, but I can't do it,
Yeah, the time is not ripened yet. But you see, you need to make it happen. Is you need to cultivate, you need to strive, you need to not waste time. When you not waste time, you're already doing the 30 days. You know what I mean? If you're not wasting your time, you're already doing a 30 days. You see? If you think that you can only do a 30 days when you really go to a 30 days, no. Here, right here, there are so many 30 days in this moment that you can do, right? That is the most important moment. Don't forget about that. So if you could actually make this moment work, you are actually changing the next moment. The next moment may not work if you do not make this moment work. You know what I mean? It's changing this moment. However you work at this moment, it changes the whole thing in the future. So, right here, this moment, this breath. Yeah? Okay? Good. All right. Any okay. Tisa? Yes? Mali? Mali. Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much for the poem about tomorrow. It's such a good reminder for those of us who tend to procrastinate all the time.
Yeah. I know that song is that poem is so wonderful. I haven't done a very good translation, but I have tried my best.
It's good. It's really good.
Good.
I think when it comes to impermanence, both living and non-living things are impermanent. They always change. That is why we see the ruins.
Living and non-living are impermanent.
Oh, living and non-living are impermanent. Yes. Living and non-living.
Because living things are, we pay more attention to living things because we are being living beings.
Yeah. But we sometimes we ignore the non-living ones, right? Yeah. But we are living beings, so it's very natural that we pay more attention to the living things. But still, inanimates are changing all the time, right? And you look at Bolam, it's changing all the time, the building, right? Today one more cap, today one more brick on the wall, it's changing all the time. Yeah, good. All right. Anybody else? Yes.
Sifu, thank you. So many times during your discourse, I was thinking about urgency and how important faith is coupled with that.
Yeah.
So we can have a sense of or I can have a sense of urgency, but without the faith and confidence that says, yeah, if you try, then you might not get the result that you want, but it's possible to go in that direction.
Yes. A lot of times people would say, oh, I'm not confident that I can do this, so I better not do it. Wait until you have confidence that maybe probably 5-6 lifetimes later. You're willing to wait? Go ahead. But it might not happen. 5-6 lifetimes later, it might not happen because conditions all change. The merits that you have to make it happen right now is here. And if you don't make it happen, those merits may be gone. Those conditions may be gone. Right? So I remember when I asked my teachers, and I asked my Sifu I wanted to renounce, and he said, oh, sure. Yes, good. 1992, Chinese New Year. So in Chinese New Year, he said, I'll wait until April in Chinese calendar, like April, like in May. I said, May? 4 more months? At that time, I wasn't like thought that I was going to die. But I said, 4 more months, really? What happens? What will happen in 4 months? Nobody would know what will happen in 4 months. If something happened to me, maybe within that 4 months I could change my mind. I could change my mind completely, not to renounce, and you won't see me anymore. You won't see me as I am right now, right? Things can just change because this human mind is so tricky and so cheaty. It can just trick you and cheat you, right? Yeah. So I'm glad that you said this. I'm glad I had that faith in myself, and I have that faith in Sifu, your Qigong, and I have that faith in renunciation. So I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and it was worth waiting, but it could easily happen. I have seen people happen like this. They wanted to renounce, and then Sifu asked, or their Sifu asked them, or my Sifu asked some of these students to wait. Then that's it. Forget it. Doesn't happen. Never happened. So when the conditions are right for you to do it, do it. Don't wait. Don't wait. Okay. All right. Now we dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we with all the other living beings together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the wise words of the Buddha, study them, understand them, practice them, and allow their own wisdom to arise, to liberate themselves from their own defilements, afflictions, and be ultimately and truly free, happy, and peaceful. May you all have a wonderful evening.